welcome back. Top of the morning to you. It's Friday. We're excited. Thank God. As it later on the show, the NewDay show, we'll be preaching to you the gospel according to tourism from the Zimbabwean perspective. But right now, Amma, let's check out the headlines. Yes, yep. We look like a newspaper vending joint. Yeah?
We're doing their bidding for them. Anyway, Daily Statesman says, expedite action on probe at EC LMVC charges CJ. Also, Justice Brobe leads commission of inquiry for new regions. Then finally, businesses to be registered electronically. The VIP launches e-certificate and payment. Interesting stories there.
Interesting. I like the paperless thing. Let my vote count. I didn't know they've been silent for a long time. So interesting there. But I'm happy about the paperless system that we seem to be getting on with. For me, that's how we need to go.
Right.
If we really say we're part of the global world, this is where we need to go. I mean, paperless sports, address system, then we have this. It's exciting.
It is.
Don't you think?
It is. It definitely cuts away some middlemen and takes away the loopholes. Definitely there's some streamlining, and hopefully, the bureaucracies that go with what we see when middlemen are involved will be taking away when these electronic, e-certificates and e-payments go on. So definitely it's a credible thing. We hope it works. My problem is when it comes to the e-certificates, stuff. They should look critically at the internet system because when it comes to our power, internet, we don't have strong cables laid down for all these. So they should strengthen that aspect so that the e-systems can work for us.
But you're a doctor. There's midwife.
Yeah.
Why can't there be mid-husband? So the middlemen can have something to do.
No, we don't want.
We don't want mid-husbands.
Because as the women are shouting, they're meant to be shouting. There'll be confusion in the labor world.
I get it.
So
I get it.
We're just okay.
Anyway,
with
so that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Now, and
incredible. But I think NPP, the current government has been strong on saying it wants to put up certain institutions or, that's the sense I get recently. And most of the things they are panning out, let's say the digital system, address system, they've got the e-system. So it looks like their mandate or what they set out to do, they are achieving gradually and steadily. And we're looking out for that because definitely when you give a promise, we expect you to deliver on it. And with this short time, they seem to be doing that. Kudos to them.
We hope that the government doesn't run out of steam at some point. Because if we're really talking about digitization, we should do it to the best of our ability. It's been done elsewhere. There are examples that we can learn from. So why not? Let's move on.
But Commission of Inquiry for New Regions, Johnny, if a new region is formed, I think I'll relocate. Accra is too populated, densely populated. Already, maybe I'll be MP in that, or even minister, substantive minister. So
if you have interests, you have political interests to become a parliamentarian or an appointee or something like that.
My aim in this world, in Ghana, as I feel God has put me, is to make sure people are comfortable. So wherever I can find myself, I speak for people so that equality, equity. People. Oh, yes, I'm doing one part of it, but if God leads me in one direction, I'll go. Not for the money, but definitely to work. That is exciting.
A friend of mine said nobody eats, praise the Lord.
At all. Oh, you see that thing, So, but there have been qualms about it. People have raised issues, definitely. But I think it's to help with decentralization so that we can govern a group of people who are large and so don't receive adequate distribution of the national cake. So we hope that goes well.
It was such a big issue in the 2016 election where a lot of things were said about it. I remember that it was the MPP who started pushing that agenda, but towards the close of the campaign, you heard the NDC also, sway into that conversation. So, let's see how it goes because the committee needs to satisfy this professional constitutional mandate, the Justice Brobe Committee. They need to go by it, perhaps do a referendum and get the people's consent to be able to implement what they plan. So, let's see how it goes. The people have been clamoring for it in the Western region, for example. That's where the Western North thing came from because they folks at Sekedi and Takrady feel, right in the heart of the region, and those around the Nzima-Wasa areas, they don't feel too connected as far as the distribution of the national kitty is concerned. So this perhaps, and it brings to mind also our geographical setup. sometimes you are traveling from Kumasi to the Bonohafo region, you will find a long stretch of land.
No settlement.
No settlement.
Right.
You get into the northern region, a long stretch of land. And then you find scattered homes.
Yeah.
You go to the western region, long stretch of land. And then you're wondering, okay, what exactly is happening? I mean, how can we have all these and yet we have people wanting to concentrate, crowd themselves in Accra, in Kumasi, in Takrady? I mean, what are we looking for?
Yeah.
What are we all looking for?
Really, when I see those vast lands, I wonder if it's part of Ghana. Like, is it for us? I mean, but definitely, if I decided to go and take that piece of land, I'll know the owner, certainly. But, I mean, why? I think this will go through if we make people understand, or the regions really appreciate why this is being done, to decentralize and, like you said, make them feel a part of it. Because there are big places that, yes, there's a lot of land, but then we're all moving to one specific area. And so if we develop that area and leave the other parts, and we're all crowding for the same social amenities that exist, there's going to be issues. Definitely this will come with money concerns, because then you have to pump money into creating it. But if at the end of it, doing it will be for the better good of all Ghanaians, I think they would embrace it. Because there are four. I mean, the western region, Brong-Ahafo, northern region, and then Volta.
The western north OT region, and there's also the Ahafo region and the northern region part of it. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how the people themselves respond to it. If they really indeed want, the regions to be halved so that they could be properly administered.
Right.
But there's something on the page 2 of the Finder newspaper that perhaps I should. It talks about some employers in Tema who are shirking their duty as far as safety is concerned.
Yeah.
And you know that Tema is an industrial hub.
Yeah.
So when you have the employees themselves going to buy their own reflected or reflective jackets, their own boots, their own helmets, their own gloves, then you start wondering, okay, so what does the labor law say, and how are the employers attending to it? Because the labor Act 651 says every individual needs to be protected properly. So how come those folks in Tema, and I guess it's not just in Tema.
It's not Tema, it's widespread.
It's not just Tema,
Johnny,
because if you go to the industrial area, the north industrial area around North Kandishi, you will find people, working with very dangerous conditions. And you're wondering...
It definitely isn't only in Tema, because, Johnny, remember when FDA was destroying the mackerel?
Right,
We saw them destroying it with their bare feet. Ideally, they should be in boots, they should have some gloves. So they didn't have that. Even in the hospitals.
Masks.
Yes, you'd have these issues. So it's a widespread issue, and it's because we don't take safety seriously. Everyone thinks, I'm paying you, so handle your own issue. But that's not what it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to do pre-employment. You're supposed to be checked out.
You're a doctor, you're a medical doctor. Do you get people come to the hospital with, after effects of not having been protected on the job?
Certainly, Johnny. Everybody has that. I mean, you have masons or painters who are on scaffolds, they're doing the job, they fall down, they hit their head, and they're wearing helmets. Ideally, you should be strapped in, you should even be, in a, I don't know what they call it, but it looks like a basket that can hold you. Right. All these things, but it's not provided. All because we just throw caution to the wind. We feel it's been happening. This is the way we do things, and we keep doing it. But it's high time we change, because now people are taking the courts seriously. You can be sued for it, and really a lot of money goes into these cases. If the lawyers decide to take us on, we'll be paying through our noses. So definitely we should look at it, because keeping someone safe is paramount in whatever work they're doing.
The examples we have here, for example, Emmanuel Mpie, a machine operator at one of the chemical plants, said he purchased his boots and helmets himself. Another, Kofi Ankra, security guard in the factory, said although the company gave him a safety gear upon employment, he had to replace him himself when they wore out. And that's where the angle is. Sometimes you get one boot, one safety boot, and then whether you work there for 10 years, 15 years, it's the same thing that comes to you. And yet we have a minister for employment and labor relations. And all we hear them talk about is to increase the minimum wage, or when people are going on strike and they have to mediate. We don't get them talking about the safety of workers. And because there's lack of employment, people are forced to shut up even when they're suffering. And it is not a good thing.
It isn't.
People are forced to shut up. Look, when the bust issue came up, the gentleman who was actually smelling and holding fuel, petrol, was washing his hand in it and smelling it. You are a medical person, so you could perhaps tell us how dangerous that is to inhale butane and propane.
Even the layman knows that it's not right. You shouldn't do it. How much more an official? And you're doing it with your bare hands. So let's not I was
so livid. We'll run, but I was so livid when the FDA, the Food and Drugs Authority, and I think the Standards Authority too were there, when they had gone to recruit the boys to go and destroy the tins of fish that TV3 had reported about or on. And they didn't provide them with boots. They didn't provide them with masks. They didn't provide them with anything. So they were right there.
Sometimes right there in the middle. You hear them give is that we give them the equipment, but they are not comfortable using it. What does that even mean?
And that's the Food and Drugs Authority and the Ghana Standards Authority. These are the people who are supposed to protect us. Now they hire people and they put them out there. The next time we'll be told about Chichinga theory. Anyway, well, Coco, good morning to you, Coco. You are very. Don't worry, it's okay.
Guys, so we've spoken a bit about the creation of the new regions and the formation of the Commission of Inquiry, but we want to also know what you think out there as George rants this morning.
The carving of new regions was one of President Akufo-Addo's several campaign promises in the run-up to the 2016 elections. In furtherance to this, the president has inaugurated a 9-member commission of inquiry to assist in the creation of the proposed 4 regions. And there have been some reactions to this whole development. While some think it's politically motivated, others think it would enhance economic opportunities. But where do you stand? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
For that, member Mr. Mama Nana, so we but say I am now maybe I be creating regions in Omo Betias here. Yes or no? Yeah. Baby to say bro have regions. As at now, me must that me near Bemina me but as Ominum region. Before now I have grown and then I have region Shanty region. And I'm separate. So yes, separate and I'm and Koswobi. Abba I have region grown and a half. And they say almost you move free. Nice says a year be a voter region no year. Ebema Impuntu na Jumano. And now we I drew Opano
Media and who here and when he and say you were never be brave or my muha say I was say a shana ye. I think it's and never be brave, master. And never be brave. Even say school fee free school a year or the abbey. And Kalani Konya Krani are dear Mobetata, so I have problems be brave. I was an anashe now or yet. And one thing and when he has to say, said Nana evidence to say, Macase met new Meti region for Frontino, Mabanan Quanda was a meti, Wabra and Fevayan, Cecilia idea and Fevayan, Yapananacho Pa said, Sabria, your woman, and Yamra, new region. And it's I say, Senanate new region says, yeah. I was upper baby ma in Pennyphone Bacono. These streets no region never costono. I was saying, put to never call. Massa forgetting in Puntuan, says, yeah, your woman in Puntuano, and when I away, I hear
Cecilia, dear, and your promise, Nana by a once. Region, dear, so can the campaign more and can the campaign more, and not yet and another different region, a year for development in Tino, a year. Because region is one, a massacre by Cohono, ya located Cohono, and swarm for and swarm, and to say, or Chemua, not say this is maybe or creative this is make count. About I'm a development I then Akos. About got population, no, I am Nasika Chama or Mono, I am so. Aha, not a development that could one place. It is an idea, no, sir, Nana or Waka. I feel on a referendum, yes, correct. It is a referendum, the bus now say 50% in India. Not just say, qualify, says referendum never 50% in India can't minimum see or Mubena because or he be or he be asking or no person what's in who free a one to know. By all means, or be vote to and I
oh, Master Debbie, I know him, and you're one vote to Anabama. Oh, you find microphone Ghana you hold that rent eketi upper west na pay we so that omo eja suggest buy but if you make can ntimi enya fufudo na anya dem ankreti
because for about say creation of new regions as a politically motivated but minister na out than both you see already more like to, you know
where the political motivated because two parties in Inara Obia ba omo the same thing and this name people me na mo ho no and this buy no ono the same thing obeketi new region and ono andi wani and okọ and MPP aba no ono so kan say ono so be create ansa na ono so ayede akọ no nyame ya don no so ayede wadi na nya say e political talk bi na omo ye ade no voters say so omo chemu a e fine papa say na ye voters say na me so enkwanta kra no e ka voter region what you say minimum say I cannot what you say and say chem na say omo so nyam region eboa
voter no do baby I can political
and then you mean to me can say and political how they gain or they point
set me
political don't be some question say political then and yes
but o ka say political there na just say na o ka say na ye na ye na o say ye no and then for so be any so because yes anet here and yes anet here
and political and politics so
politics. Because if you Western region, the woman say region so it ye chemu ebeboa ebema mpuntuo aba say mpuntuo no so because bibia ba ekokata krade se for se be mama ka se mba ko nkire se ye chemu mienu a efri se hwe o so ekọ de biso no ebeboa mo because omo kwan kran nye papa etade o me mfa nye politics yanka de betima bo ni pa na wo man ni mu no
bubebe busa se enne ehu hia nyuma bebe wa ese munye
mama ka se nkire because abana jatum so obeye saade no yamo no because ekwan enye papa ensu o onye papa ni aduma papa
already enema bebre wo ho a sesika na wo de beye no
great Accra yenchem o mani nyina capital nyina great Accra great Accra kwan ye
enye
mabeka
we bi o see essence region ni suntina akwan ye great Accra na kwan ye me bi say great Accra kwan ye
Eliama bebre and our Western region. Yenya timber, yenya cocoa, yenya oil, coffee Western region. Boko and put 20 Western region because region is so. Who free every echo takradia 199 miles. A better than put to a draw. And the HM, that's a regional call. Onyani district, I was a real Solia, and put to a baba. You come about Sucromo.
I say I have 4 regions, but you confirm with you on the best booty. Oh, yeah, but it can come and say at the end of the day, no, I bet 2 pay.
But in Crawford, honey, the more pressy, so what I say, but I'm refusing, so I'm open to say, Yantia, not yet, say, Skank was here, they call school muno, a fabi, ebe free ho, a bequasha baby walk, or region nimu, a bequay development from Sansica, what I had before front, yet the betia or bika, I find the abefa. Secretary ne assistant ne na sefo nyina ye betu o mka eti ni sese a na ho hia for now
region dia ehu hia pass e bechem yo baka say region ehu hia no pam puntuo because region so ukọ western region one free aso
eti western kwa sam na be
I want me free me ha no ye ntia me kasa no region so eti say ope bibia je ukọ takrade ope bibia
bibia region dey capital
and na say be chabu mienu a you also so be regional capital to put to bako
who nim say be ba yo
political get a ka baby onu chemu enye yie region na get a ka ne sa ko wasa region and abro have region region be so
na say great Accra na so
anybody who we see regions in
because
Ya kwa bebre anya. Enti ne so wase so ya chemudia. Obia so be pene say yanti dia because say development nkwa na waka dia. And dia Accra so hia development. Enti yanchem. So wase wo ka ne sa bra yi so what is that tree. Na wo ka ne dia ne sa dia. And dia na wase Greater Accra so ya chem because Greater Accra kwan so enti no na ekopado commission endra na. Osha one shutdown mo say okay. Me mamu 9 months and yes, there's no timeline to it. Osha, into so I be also.
Pacho, is so dear, is so bien. Akubado, Ghana for Emma in Vienna. Excuse me, send me work for President Akufo-Addo. Ghana for Emma in Vienna. Enti akana watch cram and Vienna naso. Na what the idea now, why Ghana for Emma in Vienna. Pepa mucho bebre pass. Create of region no dey be creating in there, but create of this regional capital no and no name manson kesi
and no na ye den tokwa ba no
and no name manson
kesi amwan kama common school ayesi ye hu se ye dey kwa amwa ye hu se ye dey kwa ankama etini ya besi wo we asase kakra mfrimfri ne ato di amwa ankama eli eti district ni se hefa pa ne ye dey kwa se ya region na hefa ne because say ya be mo nipa no obi abenya ne ho nti asese okay sie Kofodua one district na eba nti ya de ko empire so na ya de ko abitifi eno so ya asem foforo.
The creation of new regions has been received with mixed reaction by the public. While a section think it's unnecessary, others think it's going to bring more opportunities. But their greatest problem is the siting of new capitals. They want governments to put in all the measures to fix any disturbance. Let's know your thoughts. Just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter, it's a News TV3. We came to you from Abuso Kai. Thanks for watching.
Oh, cry more.
Please pass me the graphic. Welcome and thank you very much indeed. Let's go straight now to the news review segment. The Daily Graphic this morning reports that African universities score poorly in global ranking. Government hits road to raise $2.5 billion to defray energy sector debt. One district, one warehouse launched. That's the banner headline on the front page of the Daily Graphic. The Catholic Standard story that I want to link to what was said in the Daily Graphic. It says, don't admit unqualified students into private universities. Professor Yanka, who's the Deputy Minister for Education, says the Goals Tweet business says only a third of vehicles have insurance cover. That's according to the National Insurance Commission. The BNFT says government showcased at 2.2 trillion Toronto Stock Exchange. An industry academia link requires investment. That's according to an expert. The Daily Heritage says middle class 2 pupil to be buried today. Stop WhatsApping while driving. National Road Safety Commission says, and corporates will be punished for rot in health services, declares the health minister. The front page of the Daily Statement says expedite action on the probe at EC. Let my vote count, charges the CJ. And Justice Brobe leads Commission of Inquiry for new regions. Businesses to be registered electronically, we're also told. And finally, we'll combat climate change. President pledges. That's the front page of the Ghanaian Times. And the Delta Force wraps it all up for us. Says 13 Delta Force fined 23,400 Ghana cedis. And that's on the front page of the Daily Guide. And Otumfo arrives to rousing welcome. My guest this morning is the former Member of Parliament for the La Dade Kotopon Constituency, the Honorable Ni Amasana Male. Say Namale. Yes. And Vincent Asefua is the Acting Deputy Communications Director of the New Patriotic Party. Vincent, welcome.
Thank you, my brother.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Interesting. You're wearing Ghana.
Yes, yes.
Both gentlemen are wearing Ghana.
Absolutely. Today's a Friday. Normally, on a Friday, it's very good and apt to put on an African wear. Let me also indicate that I'm very much I'm happy to sit beside the next president of the Republic of Ghana. I know my very good friend, Honorable Namwale.
He's trying to bribe you.
2020.
He's trying to woo you.
Comparatively, when you compare the competence of Honorable Namwale and ex-President Mahama, I think that I would choose Honorable Namwale over President Mahama. Reasons best known to myself, because I've known Honorable Namwale for quite some time now, and I'm happy to be with him on Saturday.
This a feather in your cap, Yes,
yes, yes.
Oh, but you see, if Chelsea and Manchester United are going to play and Jose Mourinho will be doing the selection for Chelsea, you know, people will look at it and say, why should Mourinho do the selection for Chelsea? Who should be the goalkeeper? Allow my NDC people to choose me, and then come and support me.
But from where I
by the way, I thank you very much for saying I'm the next president of the Republic of Ghana.
Okay. But you said allow the party to choose you.
Yes.
Not the opposition to choose you. But you think that he has other motives?
Oh, I know he's speaking from a good heart, and if he's inspired from above Inshallah, it shall be.
Okay, let's talk about what's on the front page of the Daily Graphic. We're told that the African universities have scored poorly in global ranking. Our own University of Ghana, for example, scored 1,930 something. Africa's best university in South Africa scored 303rd. So on the global front, we are not doing very well, and yet we tout ourselves to have the best professionals and everything else. Then, on the front page of the Catholic Standard, we're told of the fact that we shouldn't admit unqualified students into private universities. There's been a phenomenon that's growing. That's the Deputy Minister, Professor Yanka, speaking there. Vincent, and all of us here have had university education. Are the standards falling, Vincent?
Thank you very much, and a very good morning once again to your cherished viewers. I had the opportunity to cite on the information being given by the IAU, that is the International Association of Universities.
Right.
I think that there have always been a problem as far as such a grading system is concerned, because the only question that will come to mind is what constitutes or what goes into the grading system. What will make the IAU, that is the International Association of University, as it were, to grade the University of Ghana as 1,903 or so.
Yes.
I mean, what goes into it? I listened to Professor Yanka. He made a very critical analysis. He said that he has been the 3rd Vice-Chancellor of Central University.
Right.
But as we speak, if IAU is grading Central University, they grade Central University with the 1st Vice-Chancellor of Central University. So clearly, it tells you that the information that goes in is questionable. Over the years, I am much...
But the IAU themselves don't pick the information. The information is fed to them.
Well, but the fact that Central University will have to be graded based on the 1st Vice-Chancellor of Central University, when Professor Yanka at the time was the 3rd Vice-Chancellor of Central University, tells you that it's questionable. For all you know, the information will be sent, but they will have to, or they will choose, for the sake of convenience, will have to rely on the previous information that was given to them by IAU. I am very much aware that over the years, when you grading such institutions, it has always been bordering on the publications being made by the various universities. For example, the doctoral students at University of Ghana, one will ask, how many of them have been publishing their works or their thesis, as it were, to the universal or the international society to be aware what is really happening or the sort of thesis that is being done by the doctoral student. If such informations are not being given out for the international body to assess what the doctoral students are doing, then it means that if the information are not going, then they are going to grade you based on the information available to them. So I think that going forward, I'll have to charge the various universities, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, my own alma mater, University of Ghana, and all the other universities, to make sure that they publish the works that they do. I will also recommend that there should be some sort of center for global studies. If you want to limit yourself globally, when you just take University of Cape Coast or University of Winneba, for example, there are other centers of University of Winneba apart from what we all know at Winneba. When you come to Accra here, there's a way that you can embark on a degree program without necessarily going straight to University of Winneba. So is there a way that University of Ghana can have other centers globally, whereby you have African students not necessarily attaining degree from there,
like we have for Lancaster University?
Absolutely. But you see, that is also going to create some sort of advertisement, because for all you know, there's lack of advertisement on the part of African universities for the IAU to, as it were, assess the universities and grade them successfully, for us to know that indeed our universities are also doing well. Let me also indicate to the Ghanaian public that this is not a matter to worry about. There's a problem with how the assessment is being done, and I am cocksure that the President of the Republic and the Minister of Education, Honorable Matthew Poku Pempe, will make sure that the standards in our education system will not fall as the IAU is trying to suggest to us. When you look at the CALES standard, the CALES standards seek to portray that there are some unqualified students that are being admitted into the various universities. without losing focus or sight of the fact that various private universities are established for the purposes of making money. And so if I am established for the purpose of making money, I've been able to erect structures which I use probably loans from banks to...
But there are standards beyond your intention to make money. There are standards.
I understand, but you see, I'm just trying to let us know the problem.
Where the problem is.
Yes, the core problem. Because you see, if I go for loans to erect structures to make sure that I bring out a university, obviously it's a business that I am actually venturing into, and so I should expect that at the end of the day I should be able to make some ends or make some profit. And if the students are not coming, I will have to make do with the number of students that will come, whether they are qualified or not qualified. And so it's just a matter of how the institutions that regulate the private universities will have to make sure that accreditations are not renewed or can be suspended for universities that flout such a regulation.
We'll talk about suspension of licenses in the matter of the NCA, but Vincent said this is not a matter we must worry about because the assessment itself is faulty. Is that a concept you want to buy into?
Oh, not entirely. Let me first get our viewers. Not entirely. You see, to assess a university, in fact, the International Association of Universities, they know the indicators they use to do that assessment. But let's take our own Ghanaian graduates that come out from our universities. Definitely there will be an indication that, we look at the people that you churn out, the job they got, how competent they are on the market. If you get a graduate who writes an application from a certain a graduate from a certain university who writes an application, the common application for employment will be fraught with many errors, mechanical accuracies and all those things. A university graduate cannot write. Definitely such a product, that university will be marked down.
Subject verb agreement.
Come again.
Subject verb agreement, syntax. They send the text all the time.
Okay, so you look at all these things, then you go into the lecture theater. Lecture theater that can accommodate, let's say, 300 people. You see about 500 people. Some will be standing. There is no microphone for a lecturer to speak for everybody to hear. So only those at the front will hear what the lecturer is saying. So others will be there without hearing anything. That's another thing that will downgrade the university. Go to the campuses, even the research work that they have done. They haven't even shelved them very well in the library. That you go, you not get everything from the library. It will downgrade them. So these are some of the little things that go into the assessment. So I will then also the lectures, publication. You see someone lecturing for about 10, 15 years without even one publication.
But they take allowances for these things.
That's what I'm saying. You see, the public universities take allowances. Right. But you see, there are some universities, somebody who is a PhD holder, who will be PhD holder till you go on retirement without publication. Definitely, you should publish in order to get your promotion. I remember a friend of mine came and said, I got to know that if you get 15 publications, you become a professor. So I did everything to make sure within 5 years, I get my 15 publication. That is his publishing. Okay. In fact, if you publish 2 and then publish it in the internationally accepted journals, it will not be upgraded for against the university. So these are little things that I think African universities should do. I agree with ECHO. We should have centers also, like how Lancaster has done, so people will know that University of Ghana is in Cape Town, University of Ghana is in Ibadan, University of Ghana is in UK, everywhere, so that at least once people hear the name and the advertisement also count. So all these things contribute to the downgrading of our university.
Are we serious about education in this country?
We are serious, but to me, the product that is coming out...
To what extent are we serious?
Oh, you see, government, especially, let's take the public universities. Government is giving them all the needed support that they have to get. Once they get the support, the money, the research allowance and all this, they take it and they think it is part of their budget.
Okay.
Instead of them to go and do the research, they don't do it. And nobody is telling them. The vice chancellor is the responsibility of the vice chancellor. So I think now there should be an oversight body or the accreditation board to make sure that things that the university is supposed to do must be done.
Interesting. Well, you can join the conversation as well. 0508235228. The IAU says that, well, the universities in Africa are not performing well. The best in Africa is 303rd, and Ghana's best, the University of Ghana, is almost at the 2000th position. So let's start rethinking again. But let's move on. And so a 9-member commission of inquiry has been put up, Justice Brobe Commission, to look at the constitutional requirement and everything we need to do to make sure that the 4 regions are created. We're told the Western North, Uti region, Ahafo region, and then the Northern region, hopefully. Initial thoughts, there's a campaign promise that the president is pushing through again?
I am hoping that by the end of 2019, the MPP should be able to bring out a supplementary manifesto. In that,
why should we have a supplementary?
In just the first year of our government, clearly we have been able to achieve almost everything that we promised the people of Ghana. Substantially, let me put it that way.
The energy sector levies are still hanging.
Absolutely, but I'm saying that you know that at least we reduce it from 17.5% to 15%. That was a great commitment that we made.
That was not the promise. The promise that was that we were going to scrap.
And we have a mandate of 4 years. And so in first year we have been able to do this. I think that is a feather in our cap. I think that with respect to the 9-member commission matter. We have a former Supreme Court judge who is chairing the committee. He comes to the table with enormous experience, and I think that some of the members of even the commission are long-standing lawyers, practicing lawyers, very, very good standing in the Ghana Bar Association, and others are also coming to the table with some sort of experience from their own field.
Government statistician from
absolutely. And so, as you said, it's a long-standing campaign promise that we made to the people of Ghana in the build-up to the 2016 elections. We felt that for effective governance, we should be able to make sure that we bring governance to the doorstep of the people.
Is this the panacea to our problems? Our local government problems, for example?
Politics is all about making sure that you solve the problems of the people. And so normally you listen to the cry of the Ghanaian people. And what has been their cry? Their cry has been that somewhere around June, even before the MPP won elections, there were petitions from the various regions, that is Western region, Volta region, Northern region, and the Brown region. Clearly, they made claims or they made suggestions that as part of the petitions that they brought to the State Council of State, it will be very prudent on their part that this government agree and, as it were, activate the process of creating more regions for effective governance. So if the people themselves down there think that is a way to go, we as leaders will have to make sure that we listen to the crowd of the people and juxtapose that also to the relevance of making sure that we are able to solve the problems of the Ghanaian people. Somewhere around August 5th, the Council of State unanimously brought out a statement and also submitted their report to the President of the Republic, indicating that after assessing the relevance of the petition and the pros and cons of the petitions that came to the State of Council of State, they felt that, in their own opinion, it would be very apt and prudent that this government embark on creating more regions to, as it were, augment the other regions that we have already. Some of the advantages that come with the creation of these regions, as I said earlier, is effective governance. Today, if there is another region that is being created in the Volta region, one thing that we should know that there's going to be another regional coordinating council. Number one, it has created employment. It has brought governance also to the doorstep of the Ghanaian people.
Those that we have already, are they delivering excellently? One would argue that, well, if perhaps they are delivering excellently, we won't have cause to want to recreate, or if you like, redemarcate the regions. And the example is simple. If you go to, say, the Western North part, or the part earmarked to be the Western North, you have district assemblies there, you have assemblymen, you have local government people, you have all of these people, you have MPs, and yet nothing seems to work. What gives us the indication that if we redemarcate, things will work?
I think that the question should rather be, can they do better if the regions are being created?
No, that's the first question. The first question is, are they delivering? Are they overwhelmed by the problem?
Can we also improve on the standards or the commitment that they are making to the Ghanaian
Let's
people?
answer the first one. So, are they delivering optimally?
for an eye or a bird's eye view, I think that it is better we look at it from the perspective of bettering what they are already doing for the Ghanaian people. If, for example, if you take Western Region as an example, if you are moving from BBNE to Takrady, look at the number of hours it will have to take you before you get to the regional capital. Don't forget that as a district assembly, there are some other things that you may also have to require the consent or the approval of the regional coordinating council. And so if I'll have to travel or apply a road of about 8 hours from BBNE to Takrady every day or every week before I can assess regional coordinating council and have approval and consent of certain developmental projects, it tells you that ab initio there is a problem or there's a challenge that we can and we should be able to address. As I said, the people themselves are crying for the creation of the new region. The chiefs
so you're
themselves
satisfying
are
the
also,
people.
That's what I'm saying, that governance is all about making sure that you satisfy the people and you just oppose it to the relevance of making sure that you roll out such a program. If the two of them are in consonance with each other and you think that does not bring out any problem, you go ahead as a government and do it. At least that's why we are also in politics.
Can you step in here for me? And you've been closer to local governments, first as a member of parliament and who's been deeply involved, sitting in the meetings and all of that. Issues of funding, issues of the breakdown of the local governance structure have come up sharply. And the school of thought that, well, not necessarily creating new regions would solve our problems. If we make the systems we already have work, we won't have to create new regions. What do you say to that?
Sure, not necessarily creating new regions, but if there's a need for you to create new regions, you have to create it.
Is there a need now? Do we have the need?
I think there is the need. If you look closely, the manifesto of the NDC and that of the MPP, they all promise new regions should they have won the 2016 election.
Somebody will say that was a turf war because the people were buying into the concept. You pushed it out. Both political parties.
That's why we do politics. When people want something, you have to go into it and make sure you give it to them. So it is politics. No matter what happens, if NDC had won, we have created a new regions. But there's one thing that I want us to take note of. You see, all this creation of new regions, we need a referendum to approve the creation of the new region.
And that's what the commission is set to supervise.
Yeah. And then we have independent prosecutor. We need a constitutional amendment. Then we have election of district assembly chief executive. We need constitutional amendment. So I will urge the President of the Republic of Ghana that, or I'm bringing to his notice, that much as we wanted new regions, we should know that there is a constitutional challenge that we need to address. So I will urge him to move as fast as possible for us to see the independent prosecutor, the amendment of the Article 55 also, and then the election of the chief executive.
The DCEs.
So I'm all for it. It's not a matter of launching one district, one warehouse.
We'll come to that issue shortly. But I asked about the issues of funding. Yes, we will give them the authority, but issues of funding, we often don't talk about.
You know, in 1970, when Buzia came to power, the amount of money we need to run the economy is far, far, far less than the amount of money we need today to run the economy. So far as we are moving forward, our funding will move forward. So far as we are giving birth to people, Ghana is still giving birth, and people are attaining the age of 18 to pay taxes. People are establishing new business to pay taxes and all this thing. Our revenue will go up.
Is it your view that we look at these indicators?
Is
it your view that we take them into consideration?
You see, the whole thing is that if there is a challenge, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't go forward when we have to go forward. This is a country we are running. This is Ghana we are running. And we believe that when we create new regions, it will help this country move forward. It will give effective governance in certain regions, especially Northern region. Look at how vast Northern region is. You see, there are some districts that are very big. You need to divide them and make sure that things move on well. And then the concentration will be so much high with when let's say Northern region is divided, voter region is divided, and Western region is divided. So I am all for it, or we are all for it, that there should be the creation of the region.
There's an argument that this one could also have political undertones, and you've said that. So, for example, the OT region would emanate from the Volta region, a place considered to be the NDC's stronghold. What do you make of it? Do you think that dividing it, creating a new region out of it, would dwindle your political fortunes?
It's not because of a matter of dwindling our political, because the President Mama went there and said he would create a region there.
Okay.
So it's not a matter of political, it's not a matter of politics, it's a matter of getting to the people, moving governance to the people, effective governance. You see, look at somebody at the Northern Volta region, coming all the way to Ho to transact business. When it is divided, there will be a capital over there. So the travel time will be reduced. So there are so many advantages. So I think the way the NPP is going about it, the NDC will have equally done better than what they
finally, I'm talking about local government. Yes, we can have a regional minister, we can have a DC and everything, but if the local governance structure is not effective, where, for example, in the issues of sanitation, the deals are signed at the local government ministry in Accra, so then implementation on the ground becomes a problem. If we don't look at these things, will we have achieved anything by creating new regions?
You see, I don't want to use a word that the Akufo-Addo
use it.
But the assembly members,
okay,
if the assembly members have balls, I don't think what is happening will happen. Because whatever that is signed at the top, if the assembly, that the local assembly rejects it, it is rejected. You understand? So the assembly members should know that they have the power at the assembly. You see, the other time there was this Zone Life program that was imposed on all these assemblies. I think there was one assembly who didn't sign. Ladari was the last to sign, because I told the assembly members that don't agree. You understand? Don't agree. But
they signed anyway.
They signed because the chief executive will call and then maybe threaten, or I don't know what happened. And she came and signed it and sent it to the assembly. I don't know what happened to the assembly members. I don't know what they were told, and then they too have to sign it. But to me, the unit of development is in the assembly, and they have all the power. And I believe if the chief executive is elected, whoever that person may be, if that person knows his rights and he knows the law, there is no way a central government will come and impose certain things on them. So I believe I'm all for Nanado going to elect, making sure that the constitution is amended so that we elect our municipal chief executive and district chief executive. Once we start electing them, then all those decisions that are taken at the central by central government will never flow to the district assembly. The assembly will be on their own, because the chief executive knows that I've been elected for 5 years and I'll work for 5 years unless I'm impeached by something that I've done against the law. So to me, I believe the structure we have is perfect. But you see, as political parties, we interfere too much into the local government system. You know, you see a lot of things that must go on, like the basic rate. You ask yourself, why is that assembly is not collecting basic rates?
Right.
See? Because once you are collecting basic rates, our people will be angry and they will not vote for us. But you need a basic rate to develop, to give them water.
That's
to give
your
them
IGF.
Yes. No. Property rate.
Property rate, right.
You know, I keep advocating that those in the municipalities, the metros in Ghana and the municipalities in Accra should never be given the common fund.
Why? Because
they have enough capacity to collect all the money that they are, so that the rest of the money should go to the villages. Wow. In fact, I went to Sene. I was so disappointed. I was so demoralized. I said, this is a district, they don't have anything. And then you give the amount of money that you give to them, you give the same amount of money to the assemblies in Accra, when the assemblies in Accra can collect a whole lot of money. So to me, I will urge government that those in the cities, the municipal assemblies in the cities, the metro, all the metros should not be given common fund. They should not be given common fund. They should look, go to Labadi Beach, Labadi Beach Hotel. Right. No, not Labadi Beach. La Palm Royal Beach Hotel.
Okay, La Palm.
And then ask them how much do they pay for BOP?
Business operation permit.
Yes. You'll be appalled. Ask them how much was collected in terms of property rate. You'll be sad. Meanwhile, one day, me, if I go and sleep at that place for 2-3 days, the amount of money they will take from me can.
How much? How much do they take?
Well, I don't want to speculate, but it is abysmally low.
Okay.
You see,
but who does the evaluation?
You see, when some of us are trying to push certain things, and we are telling them that you are the assembly, contract somebody to do the evaluation for you. If you cannot do it, you can even do visual evaluation. If you send us, this is what we are giving to you. If you don't understand, come and let us negotiate. But imagine my father's house that bequeathed to us. And when we were bringing the property rate, do you know how much they brought to us?
No.
40 Ghana cedis.
40 cedis?
A year. 40 cedis. We have five apartments and 2 single rooms and 2 chamber and hall.
40 cedis.
40 cedis a year. I asked them, so you want me to come and pay only 40 cedis? And do you know the irony of it? During the time of AMA, they brought huge amount of money. We didn't go to pay. The next time they brought the we haven't paid. Meanwhile, the arrears was not on it. So if they don't get common fund, I believe they'll go after. Look at all the buildings in the ministries. Ministry of Agri, Ministry of all those people are supposed to pay property rate. Ask AMA whether they collect it. They don't.
It's for the government. So so they don't want to go there.
No, you see, no matter what happens, even when you ask them how much are they going, you see, they will be asked, going to the whole Ministry of Agri, they will go and collect 40 cedis or 20 cedis as property rate. Accra Sports Stadium, ask AME whether they have been collecting property rate or BOP from them.
Interesting there. So there's a breakdown, really. I mean, as far as I think in the local government structure, we need to look at it. But let's talk.
No, the structure is okay. It's you see the players,
the players,
the chief executive, and the public servants.
But me, if you have a good structure and the players are not working, it's a breakdown of the structure.
So it is the responsibility of the chief executive and the coordinating director. The minister for local government should be on them.
But let me come to you, Vincent. So the chief executive is appointed by the president. The chief executive is not accountable to the people. The people can't call the chief executive to order. The municipal coordinating director is a civil servant who gets there by merit. The political appointee comes. He is the boss. He answers, and yet he doesn't even answer to the MP. He doesn't answer to anybody. He answers directly to the president. So the people he superintends over, he's not answerable to them. And that's a problem, don't you think?
Well, it all boils down to the fact that there's a challenge with our institutional systems. We had to sit in this country and wait for Barack Obama to come and tell us that there's a challenge with our institutions. And so if we have professors like Professor Dodonu and the likes talking about the fact that we need to make sure that we, as it were, make sure that our institutions are on their toes, really working very well. We do not listen to them, but we had to wait for Barack Obama to come and tell us that institutions needs to be worked. I think that as a nation, we have a challenge with institutional hierarchy. People think that political appointments are one that they need to, as it were, use to do their own thing. I mean, without recourse to the laws through their whims and caprices. I think that as a nation, we need to have a very critical look at it and make sure that our institutions really work very well.
Okay, let's talk NCA issues. So the NCA has cracked down on some radio stations in Accra. Some television stations would receive their own flag shortly. The 30-day ultimatum they gave out is elapsed, and they have cracked the whip. We're told how some stations have been shut down. But the minority has qualms. They think that, well, things are not being done right, and that the press freedom of expression is being gagged, and all of those ones. You want to take a bite, Lee, and share with me your perspective about this?
Not only the minority. I also have a problem with the decision that the Minister for Communication is taking.
She's working with the law.
What law? There's no law to such.
There's no law.
There's no law.
She's been quoting the law.
Which law? It's just some levies that they are asking people to pay. Which law? Which law has she quoted?
She's been quoting laws.
Which law has she quoted?
The NCA's own law.
NCA has a law that is not approved by Parliament. There's no law. There's no parliamentary approval. You see, if I'm working with you, let's say I'm the landlord of this place, and TV3, I'm owing you, and so if you don't pay by so and so, give me a payment plan. You see, all these radio stations and TV stations that they are going to, you see, unless they have ulterior motive, give them payment plan. You are owing me so much, and I'm seeing that in order for you to promote freedom of expression, entertainment, education, how do you call it, IEE, education, entertainment, and information, to disseminate it.
Right.
Give them payment plan, because there are so many people who depend on those. Some people, they wake up in the morning, a certain particular radio station is what they listen. Some people are glued to TV3 all their life. You understand?
In fact, a bigger majority of Ghanaians.
Yeah. So if you see such a thing and you say, oh, TV3 is owing, so I'm going to close it down. Why? Is it out of envy? All what you have to do is, okay, TV3, this is not according to law. This is according to gentleman's agreement. Yes, I'm owing you. You understand? The radio station can also go to court to tell the court that we're going to pay, so they should give us a payment plan. So if you say I'm owing 600 million, okay, every year I'm supposed to pay 55,000. I'll pay 5,000, 1 million, 5,000 until I finish paying, because all the money is going to government.
Okay.
It's not going to an individual. So allow our democracy to work in this country. So all what I'm saying is that the way the Ministry of Communication and NCA is going about it, to me, is mark of politics.
It has?
Sure. So to me, the right thing to do is to give them payment plan.
Payment plan.
Because there is no law. Those monies were imposed by NCA. It's not imposed by law. So it is your own workings that you have to. You see, you have to pay some spectrum and all this. Fine, I agree with you. They are owing you. Doesn't mean you have to shut the store. Look at the law in the Constitution.
Right.
That broadcasting and everything should not be restricted and everything. So don't use this kangaroo tactics, behind the scene tactics, to destroy them, to make sure that these people make sure that they are off air and all those things. They say they will pay.
Okay.
They haven't said they won't pay. They say they will pay. Give them payment plan. Give all of them payment plan. Sit down with them, agree on the payment plan, spread over 10 years or 5 years, and then they pay.
Well, I want to make a quick reference to something here. It says there's fresh pressure from the National Democratic Congress MPs against the implementation of a National Communications Authority law passed under the former NDC government. The implementation of Section 13 of the Electronic Communications Act 2009, Act 775, and Electronic Communications Regulations 2011, LI 1991, Code see as much as 131 radio stations closed down. MP for Tamale North, Alasan Suhini, who worked as a broadcast journalist at Radio Gold, compared the implementation of the sanctions with the implementation of the death penalty. But so this is the law.
Does it talk about money?
But, well,
it doesn't talk about money.
The sections of the law.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You're saying you should pay something.
I'm trying to fish it out, to read it out to you, so that we can agree or disagree whether it's that. But let me bring Vincent in while I look for the law. Yes, Vincent.
Well,
the minority says it's illegal.
Is it not interesting for Honorable Namwale to sit on a national television and say that there's no law governing NC, or there's no law as it were? Yes.
The penalties.
Okay, hold on. Penalties. No,
let
me finish.
But you don't have to bring me.
Let me finish. I will get there.
No,
he says don't mention him. Don't misquote him.
Don't.
You said there is no law. You even drew his attention to the fact that there is an NCA Act. I am also telling you that there is an act that regulates the National Communication Authority. NCA do not exist in a vacuum. For example, we have the Electronic Communication Act, which mandates the NCA to regulate spectrum in this country. If you remember, the Public Accounts Committee that is being chaired by your own minority, somewhere around March, had to question the NCA why in 2010, per the Auditor General's report, refused to surcharge radio stations that are not as it were, renewing their licenses. So if, as PAC, Public Accounts Committee, minority, you chair it, you question NCA. Now you charge NCA to make sure that they embark or make sure that the laws work. If NCA now goes ahead to make sure the laws work, what are the cons of the minority? Whatever is happening now is based on what Public Accounts Committee charged NCA to do. Now, you see, there is a mixed up as to what legality is and morality is. Law is not morality. There's a thin line between legality and morality. What Honorable Namwale is sitting on this platform to us to make Ghanaians believe is morality. We are not interested in morality. Our laws are saying that, especially schedules of penalties in 2015 that your own government passed in 2015 state out clearly how institutions are supposed to be surcharged when they fail to renew their licenses. Hitherto before 2015, there was some sort of discretionary powers given to NCA to make sure that if any radio station refuses to renew its licenses, the discretionary powers given to the NCA will have to make sure that they surcharge those radio stations. Who knows? Who knows? Even before the shadow of penalties that were passed in your own government, if it was not being in existence, it could have even been more the amount of money that the radio stations are paying now. So there's a law that you yourself, your own government passed in 2015.
You know what?
Yes, I'm not saying
you shouldn't surcharge them.
Okay.
If you have a mandate to give them 30 days, you should have the money to give them 5 years to pay. They said they will pay. They are not saying they will not pay.
The NCA wrote a letter to the various radio stations giving them time to respond.
You see, all what I'm saying is that we are not fighting. The radio stations are not fighting that we will not pay. They say they will pay. You know, you gave them 30.
That is not true.
You have the mandate.
That is not true. There are some of them the NCA wrote to who refused to even respond to the letters that the NCA wrote to.
There are a couple of those examples.
Those who say they will not pay, it's a different ball game altogether. Those who say they will pay, that give them payment terms. You understand? Once you have given them 30 days, that if you don't pay by 30 days, the same way. You have the power to give 30 days.
Is that what the law is saying, or that is morality? So, what you are saying is morality. It's not law.
But the law doesn't say you shouldn't give them time.
The law simpliciter says that they are supposed to be surcharged when they
if you surcharge somebody, you give a person time to pay.
There are radio stations about 17 good years. They have been operating without renewing their license, and that is really unfair.
That discretion of how much time you can get rests with the NCA, doesn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. It's not with the NCA. That's what I'm saying. The NCA should act with a human face.
But that is
because some people are glue.
That is
some
morality.
People's life, Ghanaians, some people's life depend on the radio station they listen to.
That is still morality.
The TV station they, no, that's what.
That is still morality.
See,
the law tells us what we are supposed to do.
The law is there for Ghanaians.
The president of this country.
See, the law is not draconian.
Supreme Court because he has contested for about 10
law.
If morality, then we would have said
the law is
President
draconian.
See, at that time,
the law is not draconian.
It is not.
What's the correlation of the
law is not draconian. The law is not supposed to kill Ghanaians.
Saying that the law is morality. The Supreme Court
I'm not saying that.
Could have said that.
I'm not saying that. All what I'm saying.
For about 3 times.
All what I'm saying.
So the law to every rule there's an exception.
In fact, do they have parliamentary approval of that? The charges that they are giving.
There's a schedule of penalty that you passed in 2015.
I say, do they have parliamentary approval?
A schedule of penalty that you yourself passed, gazetted.
The schedule of penalties for 2015. Well, prescribes a bit of that, doesn't it?
Well,
you were in Parliament.
No. What I'm saying is that yes, there's a schedule of.
You are not saying there's a schedule of penalty. I thought you said there's.
Allow him to rap. What is that?
Why? What's the problem? You see, pushing forward, pushing it back. All what I'm saying is that the NCA gave those reducers 30 days.
Right.
Why did they give them 30 days? So once they are able to give 30 days, sit down with all these radio stations to make sure that Ghana moves forward, because they employ a whole lot of people. Those who say we cannot pay, take the lands away from them. Those who say give us a schedule for us to pay, let them go ahead and implement the schedule. Once you have given 30 days, that you have the power to give 5 years, or even to give 10 years for them to pay. If they default in the payment, they can take the lands. So it's not a matter of agreement. Laws are made for men. You understand? We are supposed to survive in this country. So don't bring in draconian law. When we see a law that is draconian,
you think the laws are draconian?
Oh, that if you give a law that will eliminate people, it's draconian. But if you get a law that will strangle people, it's draconian.
But you were in Parliament when these laws were passed.
So implementation of the law must be done with a human face. Really? Yes. We go to
is that what Parliament thinks when they they construct the law?
No, when we construct the law, let's say sometimes somebody will be owing somebody. The person go to police station. Police will tell you, give him a payment plan. You understand? You can even go to court and say, give a payment plan.
Right.
So to me,
but that is civil matter.
Shutting down the radio station will not help. Shutting down the radio station will create unemployment. Shutting down the radio station, the TV station will create a whole lot of social irresponsibility, in a sense that people are going to lose their jobs. So as a nation, let's look at all these things and then make sure that these stations pay. But in them paying,
a radio station operating for 17 good years without renewing your license, when you know that the laws of this country tells you that you are supposed to renew your license,
so you are found out now.
Operate for about 17 good years.
So now you are found out now. Let
the NCA make sure the laws.
So we are found out now. So you are found out.
Let's read some of your messages. Okay,
Echo, you are found out now. So let them pay.
Gentlemen, let's read some of your messages. So I showed this to you. Remember this?
Yes, they have done fences. They have done fences.
When we spoke about it, remember we called you.
Yeah,
remember we called you. So they didn't fence it that well. We went there to do it. So don't say they have now fenced it. We called you about this. You see, this is what it looked like in your constituency, and this is now what we got it. How do you feel about it now?
At least TV3, you have done well.
No, we do well. You know it. How do you feel about it?
Oh, now? I feel good. I feel good.
You feel good?
Yeah, I feel good.
And we could do better.
You see, they should even get sponsored to come and place some advertisements.
Yes, but we didn't do it over the last 8 years.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, so this is a breakdown of local governance, don't you think?
Don't drag me into.
I'm not dragging you. I'm asking you. You've been MP.
In fact, as a media house, you are the fourth.
No, that's not the question. That's not the question. The question is, we couldn't do this for 8 years until we stepped in. I'm asking a simple question. Is this an indication of a breakdown of local governance structure? Is this an indication of it? That we couldn't do it, the people mandated couldn't do it until we blew it out of proportion for it to be done. A very simple yes or no would do. So we can move on.
TV3 has done well.
Nia Masana Mali.
TV3 has done well.
Nia Masana.
TV3 has done well. Let's move forward.
Nia Masana Mali is speechless. I see. It's interesting. Oh my God. Anyway. Oh man, I can't get it. But a few of your messages. Well, Coco, please let me take one or two. I beg you. Okay. Good morning, Johnny. It's indeed very clear that His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo's government is working hard to solve the problems of Ghanaian people. Launching of free SHS, launching of digital address system, NIA, restoring of teachers, nurses training allowances, warehousing for food and jobs, planting smoke factory in Goshegu already ongoing. You say so. It's an enormous just within 9 months. Nana Akufo Excellency will take Ghana to the promised land. The creation of new regions clearly shows that the systems are not working. In every district, you have to get a district hospital, police station, at one boarding school, good access roads. I'm just wondering how USA would also want to divide their states. I guess we might have to divide the country soon. Eben in Tamale. Namale should know the 40 cities is even expensive to some of us unemployed. From James in Nima. Good morning, TV3. I commend government's position to create new regions because it will go a long way to open up the country in terms of development. Tambro in Tamale. Good morning, TV3. Let's clap for Nanado for taking a bold step to initiate the creation of new regions to enhance development. So far, so good. Nanado Twaso from Adam in Swale in Tamale. Thank you very much, Echo Vincent Asifwa, who is the acting Deputy Communications Director of the MPP. Your post is big, It's a big post. It's a very, very big post. I'm rather in power.
These are the big men.
And Nia Masana Wale, he's a former member of Parliament for the Ladane Kutupon constituency in the Greater Accra region. He has presidential hopes, and Vincent says, well, he will make a fine president. Gentlemen, Thank you very much. Enjoy your Friday.
And today is the birthday of the Minister of Communications.
My mother-in-law.
That's your mother-in-law?
Yes, my mother-in-law. Osla. Good morning. Hi, Sika. My greetings to her. And happy birthday.
You're a sugar daddy to Sika.
Oh, how can I be a sugar
daddy?
How can I be a sugar daddy?
Okay, sports is up next. We'll be right back. The small new day. Okay, so we'll bring you sports later, but take a look at this very special documentary that's coming right at you.
Alfred Agwesi filed at the Supreme Court stating that the order the government is relying on to evaluate his property has elapsed. The government earlier this month commenced the valuation process of Alfred Agwesi properties in order to retrieve the 51.2 million cedis wrongfully paid him. Some security personnel and officials from the Ghana Valuation Board were sent to the Transaco residence of Woyome to conduct the valuation to build concrete evidence on his ability to pay the debt for his trial. Lawyers for Woyome regards this action by the state as illegal. A Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Dame in his response to the argument said the action of the state was based on a new order on January 6, 2016, which he says is different from the one being referred to by the businessman. The case has been adjourned to October 20 for a ruling to be delivered. Meanwhile, Alfred Boyemi has filed a new application seeking to stop the ongoing oral examination, which is also to be heard on Friday, October 20. In Kumasi, the 13 members of the Delta Force Vigilante Group have been sentenced to a fine of 1,800 each, or in default serve 12 months in jail. In addition, they are to sign a bond of good behavior for 12 months. This followed their conviction on Thursday, October 19 by the Asukwa District Court in Kumasi, presided over by Koko Echan Uwusu. The 13 pleaded guilty to 2 counts of conspiracy to commit crime by rioting. Back to the capital, an Accra Financial High Court has dismissed a motion of stay of execution filed by lawyers of Ikea Dubofo, mother of convicted cocaine baroness Ruby Edujemfi aka Naila Metepe, challenging the judgment of the court giving the state the green light to confiscate 2-story buildings at East Legon belonging to her daughter. According to the court, the motion seeking to stay the execution of the court's earlier order pending an appeal at the Court of Appeal has no chances of succeeding. By the ruling, the Economic and Organized Crimes Office (YOCO) and the Narcotic Control Board (NACOP) can legally take steps to take possession of the house currently being occupied by Nayele's mother. Next week in court, an Accra High Court will sit on the case of Gregoire Foko, who is accused of killing the former Upper East Regional Chairman of the NPP. The court will sit on Wednesday, October 26, 27 and 29.
Welcome back. So if you were here with us in the morning, you heard some melodious music exhuming from the studio in the morning, and it was praises to God. It was with heart of worship, but they are joining to celebrate God in a grand style in Shekinah praise. And talking to me, I have B. Brown, and he's also going to be there. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great.
Nice.
Tell me a little about Shekinah praise. People want to be there, so tell me what's happening. Where is it happening? How is it going down on that day?
Well, Shekinah Praise is a program put together it's actually put together by Heart of Worship in collaboration with Eagle Wings Ministries International, and it's happening on the 29th of October.
Okay, when is 29th? Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Next week, Sunday.
Right.
So, and it's happening at Ashoman Estate, Musuku, White House.
Right.
That's where you will find the church. We would actually put a signpost which would lead to the church auditorium.
But in the advent of GPS, maybe you should have just put it on there so we can come.
It's still there.
It's
so
there, yeah, sure.
Where you just type
so if we try it on Ghana Post, we'll get it.
Of course.
Well.
Okay, so yeah, it's happening. And you know, one thing about what inspired this program was, we took this, theme from Exodus chapter 33, verses 9 to 11, where Moses entered into the tabernacle and the Shekinah glory came down, and God spoke to him face to face, you know.
Right.
And so we are putting this program together for God to speak into people's situation. You know, that people who we have court situations at the court, they don't have nobody to speak for them, and they don't even have money to finance for lawyer. So God must speak. There are people who don't have you know, the fruit of the womb. We are asking God to speak on into people's situation for something to happen. So we're actually believing God together with the artist. We're believing God together to make sure that heaven comes down. And you know, heaven can only come down when worship comes in.
Definitely, when worship is lifted up.
Exactly.
But also there'll be offertory, because that has to be mentioned. Because people are shunning these programs because they think the pastors use it as a platform to collect their monies.
Right, but it's free. It's free. It's not. That is not the case. Actually, you know, the main man behind us pushing us is Reverend Christ Kwabla. You know, the founder of you know, Eagles Wings Ministries. He's been an amazing man, and he's been supporting us financially. He's taking care of everything, and the church as well. Eagles Wings, they are doing amazing, and we are believing God that it would be an awesome time. The money aspect, that is not actually our goal. Our goal is to make sure we leave an impact in people's life, that Christ or heaven will speak for people on the day.
Very well. So who's going to be there?
Well, we, you know, fortunately for us, Minister OJ, you know, he's been away for a while. He's been out of the country. He's been in the U.S. for 4 months now, and he's come down. And we are fortunate enough to have him to come be the first. I mean, this program is going to be the first program he's going to minister, and so he's going to pour out his heart on the day. And we have John Cena. John Cena is an amazing worshiper. And we have Harry Fishin is also an amazing worshiper, and Tino Mumford, myself, I will also be there.
I was just about to say you. All right, guys. So you heard it from B Brown. He's going to be there next week. Sunday, you said 29th.
Exact 29th October.
And it's going down. Shekinah Praise 2017. It says heaven will come down. So I hope you'll be there. I'll try and be there as well. Anyway, we have more for you on NewDay.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
I want to say thank you to a few people who have been amazing to us. Reverend Christ Kwabla, Pastor Walanyo, and you know, the entire team, Heart of Worship. They are working so hard. The ministers are amazing. Thank you so much for you know, accepting to be at the program, especially Minister OJ, and of course Eagles Wings Ministries.
Very well. Thank you very much for being here this morning. Guys, we'll be back with more. Stay here with us on NewDay.
Okay.
Welcome back. So we are leaving the shores of West Africa and traveling across to East Africa, because we're talking about Zimbabwe and what we can get as Ghanaians from their tourism activities or tourism in Zimbabwe. And talking to me, I have Her Excellency Pavlin Tendai Musaka. She's the Zimbabwean ambassador to Ghana. I also have Mrs. Nancy Sam. She's the president for Tour Operations Union of Ghana. And then I have Mr. Francis Doku. He is with MG Digital. Welcome, gentlemen and ladies, and good morning. So let's talk about Zimbabwe. Obviously, I would have to ask how Robert Mugabe is doing, the president. How is he this morning?
Well, His Excellency President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, my president, is doing very fine.
We thank God for that. But let's delve into tourism. Recently, you had an expo in Zimbabwe, and we were fortunate to be part of it. Tell me a little about what you were achieving with that expo.
To begin with, I would like to congratulate the organizers from the Ghanaian side who listened for a change to the ambassador of the Republic of Zimbabwe. I talk a lot and try to convince many tourist operators who are based in Ghana, but none of them take action. Okay. So here's such a team that did. Right. Zimbabwe takes tourism very seriously because as far as we are concerned as a government, we've adopted what we call the Zim Asset. That's the Zimbabwe Agenda for Sustainable Socio-Economic Transformation. That's our national blueprint. Okay. And it's results-based, it's based on results-based management. Okay. So we've given priority to tourism so that it can deliver, just as we have done with agriculture. Commercial agriculture, we managed to, in 2016 to 2017, the farming season, we managed to inject a lot of finance into it, and achieved the results that we required, we're no longer importing maize, which is our staple food. So the same with tourism. A lot of money is being injected into it so that we have the numbers of tourists coming to Zimbabwe. And this was such an opportunity to have it's actually, they're celebrating the 10th anniversary of hosting Zimbabwe World Tourism Expo, Sanganai. And what it does is actually bringing a lot of tourist operators. We're talking over 250 foreign, and including Africa and SADC, who came from outside the country, who were exhibiting during that tourism expo. So the most important thing is to see the products, because for as long as you have not seen, you are just reading about them, it doesn't make any sense. So going to the tourist resorts after the event made all the difference. I leave the rest to the delegation to explain.
Mrs. Sam, you were there also. What do you as Tuga benefit from this expo, and then what are you bringing to Ghana for us to benefit as well?
Yeah, thank you. As a tour operator, you need to visit other countries to see what they have, to improve on what you have. And if we should mention countries that are really on top when it comes to tourism, then Zimbabwe is also part of it. Is one of them, because it has one of the 7 wonders of the world. And everybody from the world want to see that. Once the Queen of England said, when he visited the Victoria Falls for the first time, she said, why did God place this amazing waterfall here? If I could pay anything, even half of my kingdom, my royalty, to take this thing and put it in England, I would do everything to move it from here to England. It shows how awesome it is. And they've developed it so well. And the attractions are very well organized. And we coming from West Africa as tour operators, I saw it very necessary that we should go as tour operators, see what they have, what is causing tourists, pulling the tourists into Zimbabwe. If there is any secret, we must learn so that we can also package our tourism site as private sector and be able to pull tourists to come to our destination as well. And we really achieved it because it wasn't only the private sector. We were able to go with the Ghana Tourism Authority so that if we have any concerns, we can address it to them. We can have meetings. So our going together was a very effective one because we had caucus meeting between the private sector and the Ghana Tourism Authority, how we could work together, how we could package our tours together, and what we would need as the private sector, the help that we need them to give us. And it was very cordial. Right. So in those caucus that you have there, at least share with us one thing you identified that you plan to even change as of now, because we don't want a situation where it's all about talk, but no action as it is. In our discussion, we also have an asset, which is our fort and castles. Right. And it's so unique in the whole world. And so that is the only thing that can draw people to us. Therefore, what we discussed was we should, part of it is deteriorating. I went to Cape Coast a week ago during the summit. And we had a training organized by the Ministry of Tourism. So the tour operators and the private sector combined with the governmental side, we went on a tour. So at least you started something. But when we got there, we could tell that we need to put a lot in there to maintain it. So that is what we are lacking, because if that is our strong asset, then we need to do a lot of painting. Yes, and to maintain it. Right. And that is some of the things we talked about. Right. Francis, let me come to you, because you are a writer, a tourism writer as it is. What did you learn from Zimbabwe that we can use to put our tourism out there, say internet, technology, anything new?
A lot, Nanawa. I think that when you are outside Zimbabwe, you know, you read a lot of news about, you know, things that go on in that country. So you have some impression in your mind about what country it is. But I think that once you enter, you realize that some of those impressions get dissipated away, and you see positive things happening in that country. I mean, as Madam Nancy said, this is the country that has about 5 UNESCO, you know, World Tourism sites, things protected. There's the huge Victoria Falls that is the biggest attraction to people who go there, because it's amazing the things you see when you go there. But Zimbabwe is not just about the Victoria Falls. There's so much in that country that you can experience. It has, coming from Ghana, you get to realize that this country has a lot of wildlife, things you don't see in this part of the continent. And so you get to experience that. It's also have very beautiful people who are warm and embracing, you know, and welcoming. They always welcome people into their country. That's the impression you don't get when you're outside of Zimbabwe. So for me, it was an experience that I hadn't expected, because you go to some of these other tourism fora in places like South Africa and all that, although close, but it's a bit different also from Zimbabwe. You know, but you get to understand that this is a country that puts a lot of emphasis on tourism. The finance minister at the time, who gave the keynote address at the Sanganai Tourism Forum, mentioned some of the things that the government is doing to improve. They are almost there, but they're still trying to improve the things they do. They are, for example, 2 things he mentioned that caught my attention was that they're going to employ what we call the open sky policy, you know, which will now ensure that a lot of airlines would come into the country that will have a big impact on the tourism. Definitely. Then there's also going to establish a revolving fund, you know, for people who operate in the tourism sector to be able to access funds to help them expand, you know, and all that. And I think those were very important. They also mentioned that they're going to develop the infrastructure, road network and things to tourism sites. And for me, these are things that we need to pick from, because we have tourism sites which are not very accessible because we can't get there to do it. So it's important that we pick lessons from what Zimbabwe is doing. For example, also when we were at the Ghana stand at the forum, Her Excellency spent most of her time in the Ghana stand to help promote Ghana. Right. And one of the things she mentioned in a short interview was that no African should grow up without visiting Ghana to the castles that we have, because you get to understand how slavery and colonialism and stuff like that happened. So it's important. It's just they coming and we also going to learn from them, because Ghana, as I understand it, has 38 of the 42 European slave castles in Africa. So it is important that we package it, as Madam Nancy said, so that people know these things, but we haven't been able to do that. And those are the lessons that I think that we need to learn from Zimbabwe.
Very well, guys. This all time will afford us, but I'm sure you've learned a thing or two about Zimbabwe, and that will whip some interest in you to want to go out there and see what you have beyond the shores of Ghana. Definitely, we have more for you here on NewDay. I'd like to say thank you to you, Her Excellency, and to you, Francis, and to you, Madame Nancy. Thank you very much, guys. We'll be back with more on NewDay. Stay with us. Come back. Let me use this opportunity to wish a happy birthday to my little girl, Alida Anku. She's in Sunshine Band at the church. She knows herself. Happy birthday, little one. God bless you and keep you. Also to Adriana Vanderpool. She's the niece of Honorable Oko Vanderpool. Happy birthday to you. Keep rising. May God bless you and keep you.
And today is your birthday as well. You know yourself. You're watching us. Have fun. Enjoy. Enjoy your new age. Live long, grow strong, learn to do no wrong, and prosper. But we want to tell you about, for example, what will a woman in love with her sister's husband, of all the men in the world,
what would you
do? Yeah, there are people like that, you know, people who have, they fall in love with their sister's destiny. And
why you to get your own destiny?
And then when disaster strikes, she's there to take advantage and use the situation to her benefit. So instead of helping, then she comes in there. Will she find peace? That's the new one coming on TV3. It's called The Color of Passion, and suspense-filled drama on TV3 that promises to leave you permanently glued to your TV sets every day, 6 p.m. sharp. So right here on TV3. Follow the intrigues, the twists, the turns, the family feuds in Color and Passion. And it's premiering the 25th of October and showing every Tuesday to Friday on TV3 at 6 p.m.
And the name again?
Color of Passion. So how do you say it in Tree?
Color, how do you say color in Tree?
Color. You don't know, but you are.
So color of order.
In Ga will say isu.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not Tree.
Tree doesn't have a word for certain things.
Yeah.
Kalano.
Are you sure Tree doesn't have a word?
Okay, maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
Let me see. I don't know.
If we go,
maybe
you don't go to your village. You don't go home. So you have been dodging your grandmother.
My grandma is in Accra. You see, that's the problem. Before I migrated to Accra, I don't have to travel.
Anyway, so then we'll talk also about the Dark Widow. It's, if anything, will keep you up on Tuesday to Thursday, 9 p.m. It's this new thing. We're talking about the Dark Widow. And this is one of the stories that you don't want to miss as well, because it's a true story of a woman whose journey from innocence to heartlessness is revealed in that particular one. Defiled at age 14, betrayed by the man she loved, and she loved a couple of them, so the men she loved, and she became one of the most feared women, because if you cross a line, you won't go scot-free. Temperamental woman there. Jack, let me know, spoil the fun for you. So premiering 24th October 2017. Watch The Dark Widow on TV3, and every Tuesday and Thursday 9 p.m. enjoy this new thriller. So 2 for the price of nothing on TV3. First, The Color of Passion and The Dark Widow. 24th, 25th, we're premiering all of that.
And today also at the Executive Theatre, we were talking about miscarriages.
Yes, we are.
Preterm deliveries and losses.
And we'll be talking. We'll be talking
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yeah,
6 p.m. So miscarriages, come and find out. But as we wrap up, this is something I saw from our Nigerian brothers and sisters. It says admission. Meriba Institute of Prophets. Do you want to be a prophet? And I guess these days the prophets are in vogue. They have interesting names. Days of studies, Monday to Wednesday. Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 a.m. to 12. It says for more inquiries, call. So if you want to be a prophet, God hasn't called you, but you feel that you have what it takes to be a prophet. This is the school you want to attend. Well, it says, we found this in the newspapers. It says, shoplifted will be prostituted. Yeah, it will be. By whom? Anyway, but today on Community Connect, we'll be talking on 3FM 92.7. We'll be talking about this success story. We'll tell you how we were able to do it and what we've been able to collaborate with LADMA to do, and then we'll get you all the information. So 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. on 3FM 92.7. It's called Community Connect. Tune in with yours truly, and that's why we've been nominated. I hope you're voting. RTP Johnny 1446. That's it. Right. So it's Friday, yeah?
It is.
And we're going.
Yes, and the witch hunter will be here on Monday.
Yes, Senior Bright will be back on Monday, hopefully. I mean, you'll be worried if you send him messages. He is fine. Senior Bright is absolutely fine. Everything is.
He's still hunting for
fine
witches.
With, yes, he's very fine. So Coco says we should tell you that Bright will come back on Monday. So.
All right, bye. We'll see you. Have a good weekend. Stay blessed.
Of course, man.